train all alone at dawn, back into the home where I was born. Sun in the sky never raised the night to me. The blood on the track suddenly must be mine.
Look at Mbappe, three wide going into school.
Mbappe dodged it. Oh, what a move! What a move!
All my people right here, right now. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. All my people right here, right now. Do you know what I mean?
Himself in the history books. He is, without a doubt, the man of F1XL, but now he's a three-time F1XL champion. He's brilliant.
For what you believe, so open up your fists, no, you won't receive the thoughts and the words.
Good evening, everybody. Now, I hope you've had a good Christmas, or as good as you could have done, considering everything. Now, as per usual for an extra show whenever I host it, there could very well be some technical difficulties. I am hoping Taz can now hear me. If he can't, there is problems. I'm hoping he's being silent on purpose. Now, Taz, I'm hoping you are there, but I don't think you are because you're not responding to me. Now,
Oh wait, was I meant to speak there?
oh, thank God for that. Oh, panic over. Jeez. Now, we don't really know.
Some sort of intro or something at least. Come on.
Nah, you intro, never gonna happen. This show is going to be a bit of a weird one. Thank you very much, Sambo, for your 22 months resubscription. Much appreciated. It does help the show and with all our prizes that we will be doing at the end of the season. Now, as I was saying about the show, it's a bit of a different one. We're going to talk about how F1XL 2020, how F1XL has been in 2020, a little bit of the current climate and F1, return of the beef, the F1XL word game, and I don't know, I'm sure we can fit a few more bits in there, but I think that's really going to fill us a good usual hour and a half slot, isn't it, Taz?
I don't think it'll be that long tonight. And I've not got enough content to last that long.
Oh,
but
I can fill a gap. Oh, wait, no, that could...
Yeah, I wouldn't say.
Let's move on. Let's quick before anyone clips it. So let's have a quick chat about. I know F1XL in 2020. It's been a bit of an odd occurrence. Obviously the pandemic has hit everyone, but it's kind of brought the community together a little bit, hasn't it? I think in all.
Yeah, I think we've seen that on a few occasions. I think obviously we've had a lot more events compared to usual, and I think that's went down pretty well, if I say so myself. And I think, yeah, as a whole, I think you can sort of feel the collective sort of coming together and sort of supporting each other, which is always good to see.
It's always nice. And we've spanned this year over 2 games like we usually do. F1 2019 and then I'm moving on to F1 2020. It seemed, I know we've complained about it, but it seems like a pretty, unlike previous years, it was quite seamless this year, which is a bit odd.
Yeah, we managed to really do a good job in that sense this year, I think, because it was a case of we were able to sort of finish the season off, and then we had, a couple of different events, and by that point we sort of were able to have the new season set up and everything, and then by the time that actually we got to the stage where, we're about to start racing, then yeah, we were good to go. Everyone was sort of, they'd had enough hype and they just wanted to start racing, so it was all sort of aligned perfectly for us.
Yeah. I don't know. It just seems like a really. Just to me, this year, I've obviously it's weird for everyone. It doesn't seem like we've had a game change, which is nice in for the commentator side of things. I know in the racing style, it is very different from what we were used to, but I don't know. I think it's been a big one. Oh dear. What have I? Wise people. I'm just looking in the chat, wondering what's going on. Thank you very much, Roland, for the 29 months as well. That's
I've not even looked yet. That's a good sign. I'm busy typing and talking and listening, and it's all going actually quite well considering.
yeah. Considering usually we've
You know
had a
what?
breakdown
There's
at some
one thing
point.
missing. 1 second. Let me grab my Doom thing here. And
I was waiting for beef or something, to be honest.
no. 1 second. Let me just. There we go. That's better.
Oh, okay. So Kaz is doing the honorary warning. Is that what we're?
Last for the series. I'm off work tomorrow. I do feel a bit insensitive though, if I'm being honest, because I am drinking Corona. I'm sorry, guys.
Oh, just killing me softly. So, I mean, let's talk more about F1XL in the style of 2020. Obviously, started the pretty much the new season was it January, or did we start it in February? It was a February start, wasn't it, for 2019?
Yeah, it was February start, second week I think of February.
And obviously, 3-4 weeks later, we obviously hit the COVID thing. But I mean, it was already looking up in that sense. We'd obviously had Jolly, who dominated in F1 the season before, and everyone was kind of expecting the same. But were we really expecting the same from Jolly? I mean, we haven't really had that sort of dominance since Scott's Metroid in season 5 and 6, which is nearly, would have been like 8-9 seasons ago.
You're talking 2014 is what I want to say, I think.
13, 14.
Yeah. I think, with the change of a new game and new assists, it's always potentially going to happen.
And, Jolly dominated in 2019. The game we like to call an F1. F1XL is Jolly's game. But I think that's kind of a sitted one. But, I mean, throughout, obviously, the end of F2 ended to being one of the best endings to a season that we've seen. I mean, we've had some really good ones, don't get me wrong, but that just was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, I think, credit to both drivers in that sense, because you think throughout the whole season, sort of, neither of them were overly quick. Like there was never a dominant race where they turned up and, got pole position, fastest lap, won by like 1 second. There was never a single race where that happened. But you know what, and I don't mean to abuse anyone else in the site, but in terms of that season, I feel like that those two just had that little bit more sort of race smarts when it came to the important moments. And that sort of extra IQ at clinical moments is probably what helped at least those two fight for a title at the end, going into that last race. But I genuinely still believe now that there's more people that should have been involved in that last race fight.
And obviously, it was all capitalised on the stream. I'll touch on to commentators in after this bit, I think. But yeah, Mark did a fantastic job. I think it was with Stracker as well, commentating over those final few races, and he captured the moments perfectly. And what a race to finish on as well. Canada. I have to admit, I've watched that race over a few times. It wasn't the best race in the world, but the way things were panning out, I know Pickled had a sizable advantage on points, but there were times in that race that he wasn't the champion.
Yeah, and I think that was the thing. It was like, obviously, Light Shock and Striker, there's absolutely no doubt the two of them did a cracking job this season. But it was a case of, you know what it felt like? It felt like, I'm going to use a football analogy here, but it's like that last game of the season, and you're playing a team, and your rivals are playing someone else, and it's like, oh, we've won the title, oh, we've not won the title, and it was just like that. It was like Man United and Man City when City stole the title in the last minute. It's like last minute, next thing you know, Pickles won the title and runs away with it, and yeah, it was so good to watch as well. It's sort of, to listen to Mark just sort of read it like a story, I think is the best way to put it. It was beautiful.
Now, obviously, we've had some beautiful commentators. I think is probably not the right word. We've had some phenomenal commentators in F1XL in the time, and Mark and Jack, to name the two, probably completely different ends of the scale, but some beautiful commentators in their own right. They know what they're doing. But we've been, I think, blessed this season, I think is the best way to describe it. Ollie's come in to F1 and done an absolutely phenomenal job. He's just fitted in perfectly. And I mean, I don't want to take credit away from the other two. They are brilliant commentators and probably the two of the best we've ever had in XL. But Ollie's come in, and I think he deserves a lot of credit.
Yeah, I think it's good to have someone like Ollie. He's been around a little bit. Let's be honest. He's maybe not always been known for commentary, but I think the key for us more than anything is like you look where he came from, and the knowledge that he brings with it. That's what was it? AOR he was at, wasn't it? And yeah, people will say but AOR, blah blah blah. AOR's a big league, and they are bigger than us. We know that, but to turn around and steal someone from them to help us become slightly bigger and get a good commentary duo, because I think that's really what you've missed over the course of the years, is you've never been able to nail down somebody permanently for a long period of time. You've had somebody for a few races, you've had me for a race, you've had Mark, I think you've had like other people jump in for a race or two here or there, but you've never been able to sort of, for 2-3 seasons straight, have the same person next to you. And I think that's going forward as well is going to be so important for you and your development as well.
Oh, thanks, Taz. Me and my beef. Now, obviously,
if you're sitting touching your beef, then I'm out of here.
No, not touching my beef. Me and my beef. The beef from last week. Anyway, we've obviously had some really good funs on the extra show as well. I mean, the competitions we've managed to, or to be honest, you've put together. My ones seem to have been fallen by the wayside a little bit, but the 5 Faces of Hell, obviously we've only managed 2 this year, kind of showing how difficult but fun, and I'm surprised Pingers has any hair left. And then obviously this new one, the F1XL word game, I mean, it's working well. Yeah,
I mean, I think, do you know what, I feel with the 5 Faces of Hell, I think the sort of general consensus is an agreement as well, is that it works, but I think it would be too repetitive if it was a case of every single time one finished, a new one started. And I think, at the end of last season, we finished the 5 Faces of Hell, and then it was just sort of, there was nothing there. So I think that's what we really need to do for the new season. I think, obviously, with everyone else listening, and they'll know as well, we try and make this as entertaining as possible for you guys. And based on last week, I think the word game is probably going to be here to stay for a little bit. So glad you guys are enjoying it, though.
Now, I think let's touch slightly onto this season. Obviously, there's been a few changes around, and in the sense of just like there's new people in. Obviously, a fair few rookies that have just come in. To name a few, I think Sanchez and Chips and Davey, coming into their respective leagues and showing that they're not here just to fill spaces. But it's great to see the rookies coming up and through, and being able to feel a part of things.
Yeah, and you know, obviously from sitting in the deep end, the biggest thing that we have to deal with is trying to get people who want to come, want to race, and actually do it consistently, because the amount of times we've recruited people into the league, and you know what, the numbers are endless. If we had everybody still around, and I know that doesn't happen in real life, but if we had everybody still around, we could probably fill like 25 leagues. It's insane numbers. But it's good to see sort of newer guys, Frosted, for example, definitely. Try to think of other new guys that have been quite good. Pear, Alpaca's come in and been pretty good for us as well. I think that's all the new guys that deserve recognition, to be fair. So, yeah, it's good to have guys like that on board.
Definitely. I'm trying to do a few things at once, and it just...
Jeffrey Sanchez, sorry Sanchez, I forgot about him.
I said Sanchez, so it's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I commentate on weekly, so it's fine. Obviously, we got the qualifying going on in of F1 at Canada last week before last, I should say, and that's another interesting rundown to the title that we've got coming up as well. What is it? 4 races left in F1. We've got Binary Light Shock and Master Swain all vying for that title, which is great to see. A three-way battle for the coveted Tier 1 league in F1XL. How crazy is that to think we've never really had it this big before in F1?
Yeah, I feel like it's been overdue. We've always had that one person who's turned up season in, season out and just dominated. And don't get me wrong, it's good for them. And it's, it sort of sets up a battle behind for people to try and be quicker, to try and beat these people. But I'm trying to think back game. Obviously, you had Jolly for the last couple of seasons. You've had Vidal for a couple of seasons before that. We had somebody, I can't even think off the top of my head, but we had. We've always had one dominant driver for season after season after season. So to finally see not just 2, but 3 drivers all in with a decent chance, and I'm always talking about just the drivers, but even further down, you've got other people who are winning races or are like always in with a chance of winning races. I cannot for the life of me think of his name. Project Meaty. That's Prophet Meaty. That's him. He's another one that he can win races. So it's good to have the battle, but it's also good to know the fact that they're not just going to turn up and win races, and that other guys can actually go, well, you know what, I'm going to beat you this week.
Yeah, it's throughout the field. It's not. I mean, obviously, Binary and Mark definitely have the pace, and I apologise now if you hear purring. It's not me.
He's happy.
But there's people. I mean, Sanchez has won a race as well. When he's actually not trying to crash. Ow, cat! Don't fall off. Thank you. Yeah, when he's not trying to crash, we've also got Squidgy Genie, who is incredibly quick, but he just needs to remember to look at the road and not the wall.
You know what? I got abuse on stream at the draft night because I turned around and said that Genie is you cannot have him in your team because of the fact that he will crash out more than he will finish. And I remember people in the chat afterwards, especially like people that are close to him, saying it's an absolute disgrace that he's not been picked for a team, etc., etc. But it's shown, unfortunately, and I don't like to admit that, but I was right on that sense in the fact that he hasn't been able to sort of complete races, and there's no doubt, if in my opinion, if you have a Squidgy Genie who can keep a car on a track week in, week out, he's in that title fight. I do not doubt that for a second.
Yeah, we nearly saw. Well, it nearly all went. I don't want to say to tears, but you were nearly proven wrong on the first race of the season because he was incredibly quick at Baku, and was leading the race for most of it. Lightshock was trying to keep up with him, but it definitely looked like Squidgy had the momentum over him, and then Prophet Meady was there, and even Swain. It didn't seem like anyone had the better of Squidgy through it all, but then he squidgied and he didn't crash. What it was interesting was he didn't crash. He only lost an end plate, and I thought maybe this could be, okay for once he hasn't crashed. Maybe this is a season for him to prove everyone wrong, but yeah, it wasn't to be, unfortunately. So hopefully we'll see better from him throughout the coming seasons. It's just one of those to come and through, I think.
Yeah, I think it will be a case of that we. I really, for his own benefit, hope that next season he turns up and finishes races because I think that he will scare Binary and scare Light Shock, and even Swain. I mean, Swain's had disconnects, but he's still only 30 points behind, and at times I feel like Swain plays a more tactical game than the other two at times. Binary, I think Binary either likes to be in front or likes to get his way to the front as quick as possible, and Mark just. What I imagine when Mark is driving is basically just him having like heavy screen metal just playing really loudly in the background.
Oh yeah, I think I can see that.
Like as he's driving down the track chasing after somebody.
I might have to put that in when we next see him chasing down Binary or Swain or someone like going through the pack track. Sorry, I'll give it a second. We just need to play some I don't know, Metallica or something. We'll go with something. So yeah, I suppose really that's all about F1. Aside for F1XL for the show, I guess 2020 has been one of those seasons. It's been eye-opening for a lot of us, and not just on the racing side of things. Obviously, there's been people changing personal circumstances as well, and you're a big one on that.
Oh, don't. Literally, this time last year, I was able to go out drinking. I wasn't in this house. And I didn't have a child. Just a couple of small things.
Just a couple of small things. Well, many of us now aren't allowed to leave the house at all, but we've all got that in common, at least. Anyway, when would you like to do the show of Word Game?
I think we go for it now.
Okay.
I've literally just sent you the lists.
Ah, you have. I'm clicking on it. I think in future though, I should do your list, and you should do mine instead of you doing both.
Wait.
Do you see what I mean?
Yes and no, because the way I do the list is I try and sort of have. If you look down them, they're all similar in terms of there's a certain amount of things like teams, a certain amount of...
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah,
So
I see what you mean.
It's not just a case of I just put 10 random things together. Lightshock said he's not available right now. Does that mean that we should split into two, or should we go into F2 and then get him in after? Because we will talk about all the leagues, let's be honest.
Actually, yeah, why not? Let's talk about F2, and let's talk about what work Pingers has done on the site. Honestly, guys, go over to the site. It is a thing of beauty at the moment. Obviously, we'll all get a bit annoyed with it at the end, like we have with the usual site. But to get on the site for the first time, that's what? Can I bring it up? Now, I? Can I do it?
Oh wait, yeah. Can he do it without breaking everything?
Wait. Come on.
I mean, are you still trying to get the site up, or are you watching a video?
Both. No, that's not what I wanted. Apologies for that.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm sitting watching the stream in anticipation as much as you guys are.
I was
Just to
asking for
see
a
if you
password.
could actually do it.
Oh,
Oh,
this is
Jesus
not.
Christ.
No. Yeah, remove it. Remove it. I don't know how.
And this is why we can't have nice things.
Oh, actually. Give me a second. This is why Pingers should do this show. Because he can do it better than me.
Oh, you mean like the last time that he hosted it, everything broke?
I mean, true.
It was basically 20 to 25 minutes of pingers raging.
Right, so obviously, I've got it on the site. So obviously, we've got like a link to the Twitch up here, which is nice. It works on the phone as well, which is, I think it's more optimized for the phone than the for anything else. Thank you. Oh God, guys, come on, give some faith in me. You got the YouTube side here, which we're hoping to do some really big work on in the coming months. We got Twitter. Hopefully, actually, that's a point. If anyone wants to be like I think, is it a daily tweeter? I think to do a little bit more engagement on the Twitter side of things. Message me or Taz.
Yeah, I think if you want to offer any sort of support, if it's a case of you want to do Twitter, or even if you just want to help out with, like, maintaining YouTube or whatever, just tell us, because we're always, open to having people come and help us with some stuff. So, yeah, message us. What's the worst that can happen?
I'm just reading everyone's comment. Among Us is a pinned game. And they're going, very sus, very sus. I vote Warder.
I agree.
Oh, dearie me. So, yeah, we've got the standings here. It will take you straight up there. Not that many of us will need to do the sign-ups, but there's a sign-up bit there. And then taking us to our rules. So please do not abuse me, guys. This is abuse. Read it in the rules. Taz will probably just overrule it anyway. And then this will take you to the main page. So let's delete that. Yes. Cool.
Are we deleting Among Us from your taskbar?
No, I've just
Okay.
deleted the display capture from the stream so they can actually see.
I genuinely thought you're like, oh, I'm going to delete that from my taskbar so they can't abuse me anymore.
I'm not that. Okay, maybe I am.
Yes, you are.
Let's go on to F2, sorry. And it's not as tight as it was last season.
No, but it was never going to be, was it? At this point, with 4 races to go, we had 5 drivers in with a chance of winning the title. I think it was 5 because I'm pretty sure Sky was still in it, Matt was in it, I was the Pickled and Jam. There was someone else who I cannot for the life of me remember. BX, yeah, of course it was. All 5 of them were within a very small gap of each other. So there was no way in hell you're going to get something quite as close. But you know what? It's a shame what happened at Canada, I think. Rollard told me himself he got pissed off and quit when he probably shouldn't have. But I think after last season with Matt, I was critical of him, I think, at times last season because he was in a title fight that he probably didn't deserve to be in, with him finishing, I think he finished 3rd in the title in the end, or 4th in the title, I can't quite remember. But he didn't win a single race over the course of the whole season, but he was consistent. And I think this year he sort of went, okay, I'm going to take this to another level. And I mean, for every race he's finished inside the top 4. That's imperious. you cannot. You have to be on your top form every single goddamn race to get close to that, and you just can't.
I'll give Roll Hard his due though. He has made it as difficult as possible for Matt.
100%. I think next season, if both of these two go up, which I'd be surprised if they didn't. I think if these two both go up to the top tier, then I can see them being maybe not, your top guys, because there's sort of a big gap between top of F2, top of F1. But I do think that they can get into that sort of maybe P7 to P10 with a little bit of luck, potentially get higher. I think both of them are capable of that, though.
I would quite like to see a Pingers Roll Hard battle throughout the season, to be honest. That would be quite an interesting one.
I think they would as well, to be fair.
As long as Roll Hard doesn't get too angry. I know how sometimes the anger does get the better of him, but I'm sure he'll be able to curb it to a degree and really, when there's something on the line, like a battle with Pingers, I think he'd really relish that.
Yeah, I think if you turn around and said to him, you have to behave for the whole season, but if you do, you've got a chance of beating Pingers, you'd be like, yeah, I want to beat him. I've heard debuts that those two give each other. I know exactly what level they go to.
Yeah, I look forward to that one. But it wasn't all looking like it would go Matt 45's way at the start of the season. There was calls for a certain Racing Point driver to be promoted very early on, reminiscent of season 19.
Yeah, and it's really strange because since those calls have been made, he's only picked up another 75 points. The 50 points in 2 races and 75 points in 17 races. It's really strange. I don't think I've seen it before. But you know what? It sometimes happens where the first couple of tracks go really well for you and the rest are just utter dog shit. And I think a little bit of that, I don't know, maybe he's just not had that drive, had someone to back him, push him as hard as he could, and that's probably where it's gone wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right with that. Sorry, there was a bit message that came through there from Chips and Davey saying, "Have a great new year, everyone. F1XL best league. Love, Chips." Very nice of him.
For those who did notice, I did not mention him in the newbies that I like joining the league because Chips and Davey is an absolute prick. There's no other way of putting it. I mean, like, you guys have heard him on Extra before. He's just such a wanker.
Oh, I love it.
I'm just waiting to see the message in the chat, but I don't care.
Oh, you've made him upset. We love you, Chips and Davey. We love you. Bonter's timing in as well now.
Bonter straight in there, yep.
Right then, I see that we do now have a certain shock of the light variety coming into the party. So is it time to...
I believe there's only one thing to say here. Let the silence speak.
Oh, fuck's sake. I'll tell you what, Kurt is going to love the present I got him. Oh, man.
What? It's a game show. It's a game show mood. Come on, if you don't love this, then you have no soul.
I think you've just made Taz's day.
I think I might have done.
I'm going to give you the randomest piece of information that I know about quiz shows ever, and I'm talking really random. So, do you guys remember the program It's a Knockout that used to be on?
Yeah, that's what I was playing there. So
yeah,
obviously,
that's what when you started describing it, I was like, oh, that game.
Yeah. So It's a Knockout. The town I used to live in actually won the whole thing of It's a Knockout in the late 90s, and I was there to witness it happen. I had people that I knew actually competing for the town at the time. It was honestly the best.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really top that, can you? Unless you see you've gone into Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and won money, which I don't think you have, Gareth. So let the silence speak.
Oh God, that's no. Right then, let's head on to Taz's favourite part of the show. Taz, you take over. It's your thing.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, tonight we've got I think you've already had the guys, but we'll introduce them properly in a minute. So, for those of you who don't know the rules, we have 2 contestants paired with 2 interesting hosts, I think is the right way to put it, after last week's Beefgate, I think we're now calling it. So, we have a list of 10 things that we have to describe to the contestants without saying the thing, whether it's a word, a phrase, a part of a car. It's all F1 related. 60 seconds on the clock. Try and get through as many as possible. We have a leaderboard and everything. So at the end of the season, the top 4 people across between now and the end of the season will go into a sort of called maybe a Royal Rumble of words.
Hey. See what you did there.
And there's a prize for the winner of the overall thing at the end of the season. And I will say this: I'm going to give you a little piece of information about this series finale as well. So when we do decide to do the final thing with the 4 people, it's going to be time based as well. So it's going to become really, really cutthroat at that point. So speed is just as important as accuracy.
Ooh.
Yes. But that will come in due course. Anyway, I think who started? You started last week, Gareth, didn't you?
Yes, you are right.
Yeah. So I feel like it's only fair that this week it is my turn to take the lead and go first and set the target. And if I'm right in saying, the person who's gone second for both the weeks has won, sorry. Because week 1, I went first, you won. Week 2, you went first, I won. So,
Yeah.
based on this, my teammate's fucked. So my teammate for tonight, we have already mentioned him on the show. Loudmouth, F1 title contender, very loud voice, quick driver, loud.
Wait,
Likes heavy metal.
Am I with you?
Yes, light shock.
Oh, crap. Okay, then. Bring it on.
I'll be honest. The way I actually do this each week is I literally just put it in like a little the spin of the wheel, and goes from there. So unfortunately, you got the short straw, if you want to call it that, and Roland would say you got the better
baskets.
choice. So we shall see.
All right then. I was looking forward to some
Beef.
time, but, but never mind. That's fine.
Bonner's like, you kept spinning until you stopped getting beat. I mean, yes, Palace and Millwall cannot work together. It's as simple as that.
It could have been funny.
It's like putting gravy with chocolate spread. It doesn't happen. Right, okay. Gareth, have you got the clock ready?
The clock is ready. However, I don't have the sound to go with it, so I'm sorry.
Every single goddamn week. Okay, I don't have it ready either this week, so it's fine. Right, Mark, are you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Right, Gareth, give us a timer.
Okay, you can start in 3, 2, 1, go.
F1 team, middle of the noughties. They had Lucky Strike as their sponsor.
BAR.
Yep. Corners in Silverstone, S's.
Baggett and Beckett's.
Yep. The driver who currently drives for Haas, his relative who is the world champion, ex-world champion.
Mick Schumacher.
No, other one.
Last
season.
Last season.
Joined after Grosjean.
Fittipaldi. Pietro Fittipaldi.
You said Emerson, it's fine. Japan before Suzuka.
Fuji.
Okay. Braun brought this in, and then other teams were pissed off about it.
Double diffuser.
The commentator in 2009, everybody hated him. BBC.
Jonathan Legard.
The person you called a cunt on the thing a couple weeks ago.
What?
You called him that.
Start. No. Done. Oh my god, I can't believe you did that.
Was that binary?
Yeah.
Damn it. I can't believe you actually went there. I've got.
I couldn't resist it. I couldn't.
You're actually a dick. Are you just trying to stir the pot or something?
You can never tell with Taz.
Can I just say, I think you should give me that just for the fact that you had the nerve to do that. I'm just gonna put that out there.
I said to you it can be anything F1 related. F1XL is included in that. Last week I said Gareth's gamer tag. This week I went with binary.
Okay. Oh,
Right. Well, out of the 10, we did quite well again. 6 out of 10. It's not a bad score.
I'll take it.
Probably a couple I could have done better there on, but you know what? It's not bad.
I think you got a few of them. Like most of them were fine. So yeah.
I'll take that.
I think you would have got more if I think the Fittipaldi one.
That
Yeah.
threw me. That threw me
Yeah.
a bit. Yeah.
I was trying to think of another way to describe it. I'm like, Pietro raced at the end of last season, so that will probably be the quickest way to explain it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So. Oh man, the chat is just loving what just happened here. Sorry,
Someone's
Mark.
definitely got to clip that. Someone's definitely got to clip that later.
I think the best thing it was you just going, what?
It took me. I was like, "Wait, are you talking about Nikita Mazepin?" Because I've always thought him.
Okay. Well, Bonta, I hope you're in for.
No. This is not going to go well.
No.
Or is it was the second? The person who's gone second's won every time so far.
Yes.
Well, I do like breaking streaks.
I mean, I know you like streaks, but that's a different conversation. So. Right. 60 seconds on the clock. Are you both ready?
Oh, I might as well be ready.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
He crashed a lot.
Grosjean? Maldonado?
Yes. The team. Oh bollocks. Old French track. Before Paul Card.
Oh no. Skip. Pass. Pass.
You put it into a car to fill it up.
Fuel. Fuel hose?
What is it? The fuel.
Fuel
He
hose.
said fuel hose. He said fuel hose.
Oh,
Right.
did he? Okay. He's now the kind of owner of F1.
Bernie Eccles? No.
He was a team owner for 2 teams,
Lawrence
I guess.
Stroll? Skip.
Okay. The team went out of business pretty much, and now we're Alfa Romeo.
Oh, I should know this. Skip.
Best commentator of all time.
Crofty.
Oh no.
Murray.
Yeah, we were out of time.
Time's long gone, guys. Come on.
Oh, that's fine.
Oh, streak broken.
Told you it would be.
I hate to say this, but I really feel like Bunter got let down there. Thanks, Mark.
You're welcome.
You literally went, right, for Ross Brawn, guy who runs F1.
And you couldn't have thought like something better from. I'm presuming it was Manny Core you were talking about.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, you couldn't have said maybe I don't know, the track that Actually, to be fair, I can't think of anything
No,
myself.
I think he was okay with Manucure. I thought that was fine.
I just couldn't.
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
what other French tracks have there been? Like,
There's been like 9 tracks.
Has there?
Yeah, there's been 9 F1
Oh,
tracks.
that's a
French
really
F1
shocking crew, then, Warder.
I
You
do
don't
admit
clue
that
what
the
8
one,
answers.
the Russ Braun one though, Gareth, I expected you to absolutely smash that one. I kind of thought you'd go maybe, like
I should have gone
had
like
his own team in
2019.
2009.
Yeah.
Was the
Sold
head
to
of Mercedes in
Mercedes.
2010. What was the other one you didn't get that you? Oh yeah, right. So the team that went bust, so Alfa Romeo are now them. I don't think they got bust. Sauber
They didn't
was the
go
answer, by
bust
the way.
because I think
Yeah.
I think it's still open. The Sauber group is still a thing. They just
Yeah, they don't-
Alfa Romeo purchased a share.
When I was
in the
thinking
thing.
bust, the only thing that came to mind was like the HRTs guys. And like that era, I think was like the last time I remember an
I think-
actual team going bust, barring Force India.
The only reason why they didn't go fully bust is because Alfa Romeo planted so much money into them. They literally planted money inside
I mean, to be fair,
of Sauber.
we saw how 2017 was going. Yeah, they probably did need that injection of money. They
Yeah.
were turning into Williams before Williams did it.
Right. Well, Bonta.
3?
Yeah.
I think.
That's better
Not
than
quite.
that's better. Last week was
Not
2.
Quite. No,
2.
it was 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. See,
Um,
Roland has
Slow Dog
been
got
my
given 2.5
shining
because you
star.
gave him half a point for something. I think out of commiserations. I
Wheel,
can't even give that to Bonta because
It was a
um,
wheel.
Yeah.
Did you not hear the clues I was getting?
I heard those clues. Trust me.
and yet, I somehow what did I get? I got the double diffuser one. What else did I get? That
Oh man, I was so proud when you got
Oh,
the
the
diffuser.
double
I'm not
diffuser
gonna
one was
lie.
easy.
yeah.
What?
I mean,
What if
I
you
knew
don't
that
know
straight
it?
away.
Did you?
Oh, well, if you don't know it, you don't know it.
Yeah, but fair play. I'm surprised. Like I thought that was a really difficult one.
I think it was just because 2009, incidentally, was the year I fully started watching like on a religious basis Formula One. So that season will always be a very memorable one for me. So that's why it just clicked immediately. But,
So,
Sick
yeah,
thing is
I mean-
that if I had double diffuser, all I would have been able to say was,
double decker.
thing that
with
goes on the
chocolate
back of the
bars.
car. Exhaust? Wing?
no, I would have said that. I would have said pretty much exactly what Taz has said, but probably more like everyone complained. Everyone complained about it. 2009, everyone complained about it. And they probably would have said like Jensen Button or something. I
And in
don't know.
fairness, it wasn't just Braun that did it. It should be stated. Toyota and Williams had them as well. But
Yeah, but Braun was the one that everybody sort of went for
Yeah.
because they were doing well, wasn't it?
pretty much, yeah.
Man, well, right. So I'll give a leaderboard update after 3 weeks of doing this. So top of the leaderboard with that incredible 8 points is Swain. In second place, Light Shock, 6 points.
Come on, third. Come on, third.
Third place, no, Roland.
Ah,
In fourth place and currently holding the last position on the
thank you.
finals day is Chips and Dickhead. And then the other two who have competed, but yeah, less said about that the better, Gareth. Slow Dog and Bonta. So I genuinely think that I said this to Roland and he doesn't blame me, but I think that 5 is going to be a good enough score to get into the final.
Well, I got
What?
6, and I feel fairly safe with that. So yeah.
Well, I don't know. I think depends on how many people Tarzo's got to give clues to for the rest of the season.
I mean, two more weeks, I think, of this before the effective final.
So you've got 2 weeks to redeem yourself, Gareth.
I'm
Well, no,
Roland is my
technically it's
redemption.
3, is it not? It's 3 because we've got 3 races left.
Technically, you've got a few reruns as well. You've got 1 week of reruns.
Yeah,
And then
so
the ASR
I'd
race.
say 3 more weeks because that will give us 12 people to cut down to 4.
Mhm.
But yeah, I genuinely think 5 is enough to get through. I might actually need to go back and watch it again just to get the time for it, just in case I need that as well. I think that
God,
could count. Yeah. I like looking at this. I think you've got a lot of people around. Sort of. I think you with better clues will get some people up there as well. You know, you've got Damien to Or no, Gareth Rowland did the third at the moment, so I think that'll be enough. And then
I'm
the
just
final
looking
shall
at the
be-
list, and I could have. I don't
I will
like doing
tell
it in order.
and that's where your first problem lies.
Yeah.
Because you spend half your time looking for one that you'll know before you're even starting to try and describe it.
I now
Well,
know
with me-
what I could do for the first two. But. Oh
Well, I'm sure we'll hear that again next week when the word game returns with more amazing clues.
Beef.
Bonta, thank you for coming on. I'd like to say it's a pleasure, but you're a Millwall fan, so fuck off.
Yep.
Um,
I mean,
Like shot.
it's nice to see your team's making an attacking approach now.
Yeah, exactly. You know, we scored a goal.
Makes a change.
Yeah. Mark, honestly, thank you very much for coming on. Good luck, and hopefully that could be enough to see you again at the end of the season.
No worries then. Thank you for officially ruining my relationship with Binary as well.
You're welcome.
See you later, guys.
See you.
Thank you very much for both of those for taking their time out and putting up with me not being able to do the word game properly and just putting up with Taz in general.
Hey, I had the best clue of the year. Don't even.
Let's-
Your beef
let's-
one has nothing on my one.
Let's go to F3 and talk about how that's gone this season so far. Obviously, 3 races remaining in that one. I think it's only F2 and F3 that are actually going to finish on time at the moment, currently.
Yeah, I think so. Just before we do that, actually, by the way, I'm just going to make this clear to everybody in the chat because we have got a few people here just now. If anyone is wanting to enter the word game, just message me or Gareth after the stream, and we can get you on for one of the remaining shows of the season. Because you heard it yourself, it is fucking hilarious. If it's not entertaining at the minimum. So anyway, yeah, sorry, F3. Yeah, it's been one of those weird seasons where there's not really been many reruns because normally over the course of the season, I think we average about 2 reruns, like a league norm, like a lot of the times, because we do have sort of weeks where everything goes wrong in every single league, and then we have to sort of rerun that the next week rather than at the end of the season. So I think last season was it Brazil where we had that. Where I think
Yeah.
everybody had issues in every single lobby and we just cancelled the whole weekend. But yeah, it's good to see that sort of F2 and F3 haven't really had too many problems, so they've been able to just get on with it. And do you know what? I think that one is just starting to become tasty.
It's,
You've got...
what is it, 33 points between first and third?
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, Ash is the man to beat. There's absolutely no doubt in that. You know, he's a quick driver. He likes his quick tracks. For me, I automatically think with Ash, I think of the sort of quicker flowing tracks. It's always the ones that suit him. I think he's won, like Bahrain, Japan. I class as a good flowing track. Singapore, you can say what you want about that. I love that track. Talk bad about it and you're out. I mean, he's won Italy, another quick track. Brazil, a quick track. So I think that's where that's his forte. And I personally think you've got what we've got left. Zandvoort this weekend, Austria, Britain. I don't see him losing the title. As much as I'd love to see Ben win it, because as much as a dick as he is, he's a Newcastle fan. I mean, he's got to be called that. Matty told me to say it, by the way. Yeah, I genuinely believe that Ash is just going to be imperious in these last 3 races just to make sure that he smashes the title.
I think if Beastie can hold out until Silverstone, he has a really good chance. He is that race, the Water Wagoners versus the Tazo trains. Beastie was dominant in that. Like, considering was it Carroll that was in there as well, and won the race. But Beastie was really there was something about him in that Silverstone race, whether it was the wet weather and everything just fitted for Beastie. Yeah. I
And
think,
you know what, you get races like that where everything just seems to fall into place, and I think, you know, that weekend at Canada was that weekend for him, where he drove his own race, knew he wasn't going to win, definitely, you know, he was confident in the second, and luckily enough for him, all kinds of carnage unfolded behind him, and I think that gap to Trolled is actually slightly less, because I believe that Trolled with his penalties falls out of the points, I think, possibly. I might be wrong there, but
yeah, we'll wait and see. I'm sure the standings and whatnot will be adjusted for the next week's show. Sure. Obviously, we've had Alpaca Carbon come in, and I mean, I think it took him 4 races to really settle into the league, but since he's done that, I mean, 4 podiums in 8 races. No, 7 races. Sorry. If he'd been here all season, would he be up there with the 3 of them? And also Norris as well. Now, this is a big one. Since he's really gotten to grips with no traction, he's been consistently, well, in the last, 7 races as well, 4 or 5 positions, or 6 races, sorry, 4 or 5 positions, and a third position, 2 third positions. That's some serious consistency.
yeah, do you know what? He's consistent, but I like Matty. He's an alright guy, but I don't think he will ever have the pace to compete with the likes of Ash, Told, and Ben. And that's nothing against him, but unfortunately, it's a little bit like the Dom fever at times, where he's consistent, but he's not quite quick enough to sort of trouble the guys at the front end too much. Yes, there's some third places in there. He got a fluke win in Monaco, you know, and he'll probably abuse me for saying it was a fluke win, but let's be honest, Arnie won Monaco in F4. That tells you anything can happen at Monaco.
I mean, yeah, but he's also. I mean, Monaco is all about. It's 50. Well, it's 33.333% luck, 33.333% skill, and
33.333% of Gareth not counting properly.
no, it's no. Beastie's just done a 20%, bloody hell, 20 bits saying a timely reminder that TES Norris is a Liverpool fan and Jeff is his best mate. Thank you for the support, Beastie. Thank you. But no, luck, skill, and consistency. Monaco is about those 3 things, and he's got to be there. I mean, I remember you shouting, you shouting at Arnie to just shut up and concentrate, because as soon as you get that niggling doubt in your mind, that's when accidents will happen.
Correct. And yeah, and you know what? Sometimes you need someone just to tell you to shut up and go win a fucking race, and that's what he needed that night. It is a case of you can't think anything but finishing and winning the race if you're in that position. Doesn't matter about penalties, etc., etc. If you've got the pace to do it, you'll win it, and that's exactly what happened to him in the end. So, yeah, deserved. I still can't believe I got second after what can only be described as an absolute shit show.
Anyway, let's keep on with F3 for now. I'm sure we'll cover that one in a moment. But yes, I mean, just looking at it, Ash has been dominant throughout the season, but if you were Trolled, would you be a bit pissed off with yourself? Because he was surely the one at the beginning of the season, everyone was going, yeah, he's going to win this title.
I think with Trolled, he, you know what, I think he himself knows that part of the reason that he has not won this title already is because of the fact that he doesn't know how to keep the car basically on the track out of the corners, not getting penalties, because I think I said this a couple of weeks ago in extra, but as far as I'm aware, he is the driver with the most penalties combined over all leagues this season. And no one's even close in that sense. I'm pretty sure he, at the big tracks where you tend to get a lot of penalties, he has averaged something like 20 plus seconds worth of penalties. And you know, a lot of drivers don't win a race by 20 seconds. Even in a dominant race, I'm sitting here thinking, how many guys this season have won a race by more than 10 seconds, and there's not many. So for you to have 20 seconds worth of penalties, you're automatically handicapping yourself, because you're probably going to end up finishing best of third. And if you win the race and then finish third, that's 10 points. Two of them without, that many penalties, and he's in the lead of the championship by a point.
I mean, the
So I
races.
think go on.
I was just going to say, there's 4 races where Ash Rainbow has not finished in the points. 3 of those DNFs. 2 of those DNFs, Trolled finished 10th. That's not capitalising on. I mean, forgive me if I'm wrong on this. There probably were a few penalties, and it's dropped him down from, say, 6th to 10th. But in those races, he really should have been up at the top in first, second, third, that kind of area. And even if he got the penalties then, he would still be in the lead of this championship right now.
Absolutely. And that's a very good point as well, to be fair, because any race that he's done well, Ash has done that a little bit better more often than not. I can't actually see too many chances where Ash has had an absolute shocker and Trolled has managed to pull out an absolute cracker. There isn't any races like that.
Australia is
first.
probably the only one.
And then even then, at Australia, it's not big, is it? Where is week 16?
It's 8th
it's
to
sick.
Rainbow and 2nd to Troll.
And that's probably the only week where he's actually managed to gain a little bit on him. Because every other week, Troll's 1, Ash is 2nd, Troll's 1, Ash is 3rd. Trolled 2nd, Ash is 7th, so it's a little bit, but it's still not. You're talking about like firsts and DNF kind of things. So, as you say, you really need to take advantage, and especially if you see your title rival going in trouble. And I think we've all seen what's happened at Canada. Tickets come out, he's been given quali bans as well. So as far as I'm aware, until the end of the season, he starts at the back of the grid. So he's not in this championship anymore, unfortunately, and it's a shame. But that's he's got to look at himself and think, where can I make things better for next season?
If he doesn't now, if he does win the championship now, though, fair play to him.
Oh, 100%. No one will deserve the championship more if he wins it from here, because he's 19 points behind. But I would argue that he's probably closer to 40 points behind, because of the fact that he's going to then have to overtake, I don't know, let's see, try to give a rough estimation. Minimum 13, 14 cars. Minimum. If more turn up, you're going to have a big chunk of cars to try and overtake to win a race. And I think if he doesn't win at least 2 of these races, he's not going to win it at all.
Yeah. Right then, let's speedy on up into F4, and it's been a bit of a crazy season here as well. To be brutally honest, definitely not what I was expecting. The table just doesn't look how I thought it would look at the beginning of the season, and giving all the amount of abuse you're giving Chips and Davey, to me. That just shows how much respect actually you've got for him, because I know knowing me knowing you, me knowing you, yeah. If that is what I know from you, I mean, and to be perfectly honest, the last 6 or 7 weeks he's been pretty dominant as well.
Yeah, I mean he's not done anything wrong in the last few weeks, so can't really argue too much of that. I think. Dave's gone from the title as well. I think he's lost all momentum. He's lost the speed as well, and I think The only person that's really, or the only people, sorry, that are really sort of keeping up with Davey at the moment is probably like the likes of people like Nick, Frosted. You know what? Bradley Johnson's a sleeper. He's been slowly improving week on week. He's another one that's sort of been getting better. But I think the majority of the league is just lacking a little bit of speed on him.
He's definitely chosen the right time to shine towards the end of the season. I'd say a bit of a dark horse. Come round 11, he was knocking on the door. And then obviously a little bit of mishaps for you. Kind of opened the door for Chips and Davey. And I think that's actually what's kind of propelled him up, I think. Because Dave, I think his strategy calls have been a little bit different.
I think for me that's where Dave has lost the title, and that's nothing against him, but I've said it to his team owner, I've said it to him, I've said it to multiple people, I think, and Davey is a little bit guilty of this himself at times. Maybe there's some races where he's been a little bit smarter, but there's quite a few races this season where they've just sort of seen, oh, I can qualify on softs, let's go out on them, when that's perhaps not the best strategy. The one that comes to mind for me is Hungary. I know I won that race, but I'll be brutally honest with you when it comes to that race. Me and I think Nick, it finished second, started on the mediums, and we were never. Like Davey was challenging Nick at the end, but the two of us were probably comfortable in 1 and 2, miles ahead of the first soft runners. And I think that's the kind of thing, is like Dave started on the softs in that track and he finished 5th, and I think he finished 5th because of penalties to Fordster, not a surprise, Greeners, and yeah, I think there was multiple penalties behind him as well. So Dave too many times this season is sort of done that to throw it away. And again, the rerun at France, as far as I'm aware, top 6 drivers are all on the softs, and I've spoken to a few of the F1 guys who are all like, I don't think the soft's the right way to go on that track. So if it does get to that last race, then I don't know. I wonder if the medium runners can have an impact again, because I think Nick's another one who's qualified in the mediums.
And I mean, we've said Nick's name a few times already today. It's taken him a while to really settle in this season. He's managed to get himself up into 5th. Yes, Bonta, I'm talking about 5th in F4 and not in F3. We'll go speak about Bonta in a minute.
No, we
sorry,
won't.
Bonta.
We've already spoken about him on the show he's been on.
But yeah, I mean, are you surprised that it's taken Nick this long? I mean, he's very up and down season. I feel sorry for Bonta now.
Nah, fuck him. If you whinge in the chat, you get nothing back. Okay, yeah, I think Nick, we all know Nick is one of the better drivers in the lower tiers, and often overlooked because of the fact that he's quite a quiet guy. He doesn't really get involved too much in the politics or anything like that. He just turns up, races, buggers off again when the race is done. And I mean, first 5-6 weeks, he had a 10th at Baku, which was an absolute carnage race. Second race was a rerun, then he had 2 DNFs and 2 DNSs, and a 15th within the next week. So you're talking getting to week 8 with 1 point on the board. That wouldn't have made him happy. So he's shown consistent improvements, and I'll be honest, I think he's done what I expected people like Dom to do, and actually jumped up the leaderboard a lot more than some of the others should have.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen the best of Goals. Goals was a 1 at the beginning of the season, and he's now jumped Goals for that 5th place ASR spot as well.
For me, Goals is how do I put this in a nice way for him? He has lost his head a lot in the second half of the season. I would
Chaos
say,
Team?
No, not quite. I would probably say since where did he get P4 when I won? Was it China? No,
Hungary?
Hungary, sorry. Hungary, yeah. So since then, he's had a lot of incidents, whether it be like from anger or from other things, and he's never really recovered. So he had a bad week at Vietnam. So he had a quali ban for the next race at China, finished sixth, and then he had a DNF, which was stupid at what was 14 because it's not coming up. Italy, yeah, Italy was a stupid one. It's and I can think of instances that he's been involved in it, and it's all more he's made a mistake or something's just not gone right, and he's just let it get to him, which is a shame because I like Gog, he's a good guy, but I don't even see him getting in top 5 now with the momentum of guys like with Nick, sort of Shep still sticking around there. I mean, you might catch me if I have 3-4 bad races, which at the precise moment is probable. So yeah, we'll see.
And now I think let's go to the overall just to finish it off. And I mean, you look at
Congratulations, McLaren. That's what we need to say.
You look at that, and that's Norris has done a fantastic job with that McLaren team this year.
Yeah, I mean he's had the right drivers at the right times. Do you know what you probably could have had a little bit of a stronger team at certain points as well. I mean, F1 hasn't been the best for him. Family Guy's been pretty average. You know, he's picked up 30 points. It's not a lot. Sloppy's obviously, Sloppy's done really well. Maybe not up there with the top 3, but he's still done a good job. His F2 guys, you know, he's got Matt, and he's got Roland. Roland, you know, is going to pick up consistent points. F3, he's got obviously himself. And Alpaca Carbon, who he brought in to replace the Aussie, I can't remember his name, Ghost. I mean, again, you know, he's had a good driver who he's unfortunately lost, and he's replaced him with an even better driver. So sometimes that's the thing that wins you seasons, because last year when I won it with Renault, a lot of people won't remember this, but I lost 3 drivers really early in the season. Managed to replace my F2 guy for Phantom. My F1 guy, I managed to bring in the Vapid Coot. And there was someone else who I cannot for the life remember that I brought in, and they helped me win the title because they were slightly better than the guys that I had originally. So it's all about those little moves that make the difference, and he's done exactly that. So fair play to him.
Yeah, it's worked well for him. Obviously, Ferrari's resurgence a couple of weeks into the season, they were rock bottom, doing a madman. But obviously, a little bit of help from Binary. Binary coming in and collecting those points has been a massive help for him, for Nuthead, that is. But it's not just Binary, though. There's been drivers throughout just steadily starting to pick points up.
Yeah, I think saying just Binary is I'm going to be brutal with you here, but I think that's pretty disrespectful to the Ferrari guys, because Binary's come in and got a lot of points, but you know, roll hard in F2, he's been in a title fight all season, and then you've got Trolled in F3 as well. I think you can't ignore those two. Although Trolled has had his fair share of public shaming at times, he's picked up an absolute chunk of points for that team. And it's good to see them coming back. I genuinely believe that they will be the second team this season, because I know for a fact that Fordster has left Ferrari at the end of the last race, and Frosted is going in there to replace him. So Frosted is a good quick driver as well. So that's you adding more pace to your team as well. I like the way that Alpha Tauri is doing things. I think they're probably going to nick third. Alfa Romeo, I mean, I'm looking at where the momentum is for them, and they don't really have any at the moment. Chris has had a couple of decent races, but then he's had a couple of bad ones. EX, he's sort of like the same as Chris. I think it'll be close for 4th place between Red Bull and Alfa Romeo at the end of the season. That's my prediction. I
just want to quickly touch on Ferrari again. I mean, TOR Pepsi's coming in F2. and done a really good job there
Got
as
better
well.
Yeah.
I mean, Nuthead has done the right thing, and when the opportunity has arisen, he's managed to snap up a good driver, which is obviously he hasn't had the luck all season, but where Norris has, there's a little bit of luck when it comes to team ownership. You know that as well as I.
I think if you turned around though and said, if you restart this season with the drivers that they've got now, I think that gap between Ferrari and McLaren is a lot smaller. I'm not saying that McLaren are behind Ferrari. I'm saying it's maybe 80 points, 70 points. I think the gap, being honest, I think that's what the gap realistically is between the skill levels of those two teams.
Now, you reckon AlphaTauri will pip the sister team? I mean, it's going to be close, I think, in my opinion. You've still got obviously Light Shock versus Swain in F1, Red Bull, AlphaTauri. I mean, Leclerc hasn't had the teammate that he probably would have hoped for in Carroll through the season. I think he would have hoped him to reinvigorate Leclerc through the season, but he needs to step up and try and grab some of those points off Pair to do that, and that's a tough ask. Pair is a really good driver.
With you, I think that it's more the other way around for me. I think Carroll's come in and done a cracking job, and Leclerc hasn't been able to replicate his teammate. I think he's had a couple of bad races in the middle. What was it like where he's had an 11th and a 12th, Carroll? But apart from that, he's consistently inside that sort of second chunk of the top 10. And Leclerc hasn't. He's had some, 2 DNFs, a 14th and a 15th in there. So I expected more from Leclerc this season, and I think a lot of people would agree with me when I say that, because realistically, he should have been top 3 in the league, and he's not. So that's all I'll say on that one.
We'll obviously see how it all pans out towards the end of the season. I say towards the end of the season in 3 weeks' time, especially for F3 as well. I mean, AlphaTauri's kind of got that one wrapped up, both My Life and Beastie. My Life is battling Bonta, but Bonta's got the better of him at the moment. But My Life is no easy. He's okay. I think he's 30 points behind, but with 3 races, if Bonta has a couple of bad races, then he's able to catch back up. But F3 in general is such a tough league; it can swing that way anyway. But I think Bonta will keep that 5th place over both Conte and My Life. But so it's very much still an AlphaTauri league, F3, where F4 is more a Red Bull team. I think. I fear with your points. The thing is, if you can rediscover what you had in round 13 in the next 4 races, you could, to be honest, you could be key to where Red Bull finish this season.
Yeah, but I don't have the consistency, and I'll be brutally honest, at this point in the season, it's not been a good season. I don't have the same drive that I had halfway through when I was part of a stronger team. So, I mean, it's difficult. That's where I'll leave that one.
And then, obviously, down the bottom end of the table, you've got Haas, who have actually jumped Renault and Mercedes now.
I mean, who hasn't jumped Mercedes this season? Let's be honest.
In any normal season, we would have expected Jolly. I mean, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10 black marks to his name. That's half a season, pretty much. That will be theoretically, if you average it out, by the end of the season, he will have 11. Like, I can see 11 points where Jolly not there to pick up points, and those points that Jolly would have got are huge. And I don't want to take anything away from Madman. He's definitely the tier 2 driver in F1, and he's doing his best to try and get points. He's had 3 points scoring positions this season. It's 7 points. I think he will be happy with that for himself through all that, I think.
Yeah, I think for what he's done when he's turned up, he's not done bad, but I feel sorry for Madman in the fact that he's not had a team this season, and I think I had a stern conversation with him a couple of nights ago, and I basically said to him, he was talking about not being a team owner next season. I'm like, no, you need to go away, rethink your game plan for selecting drivers, and then come back next season stronger. So watch this space, because I think that Madman, with the right people around him, can make a good team tech. And I've listened to some of the stuff he's done, and he's went out his way to help the guys that he has got. But I think he needs to surround himself with more experience. He's a first-time team owner. You can't take risks and go for guys that, obviously he went solid with Jolly. There's no doubt in that. But I'm looking further down the grid, and there's some really massive gambles that he took there that just haven't paid off for him.
It's a bit of a shame, but again, next season, hopefully we'll come back and we'll see a stronger, more formidable Madman.
Absolutely.
Right, I think that really rounds it out for the show. We've hit our usual target. You said we wouldn't make an hour, but we've managed to fill it all out, and it's been a really good show. So thank you very much, guys, for sticking through with us. Obviously, unfortunately, Phantom's come in quite late into the chat. You basically missed the whole show, unfortunately. You've missed the word game. You've missed the talk about F1. So yeah, go back and rewatch it. It'll be, I'm sure you will enjoy it nonetheless. But Mr. Tazo, have you got any final words for 2020 in F1XL?
Well, tomorrow's the last day. Thank fuck this year's over. Yeah, 3 more races this season, and then we get a couple of weeks off. So, yeah, fingers crossed we can get there sooner rather than later, so I can have a new season, fresh season.
Fantastic, thanks, Taz. Let's round out the show. Thank you very much for a weird but successful F1XL 2020 year in a whole. We've done some incredible things this season, community-wise, charity-wise. We've really shown what this community is really about, and from the bottom of my heart, I thank every one of you who has made this season what it is, or this league what it is in general. I'm sure everyone really is who's made it has really, it's just a great thing in general. We've got a big year next year planned, obviously the end of the season 16, and well, what a season it has been, and that is going to be incredible to run down and watch in F1 and in all the leagues, to be honest. We've got a lot of things to finalise apart from the overall constructors, so congratulations, McLaren. But
and just before we do end, actually, I will say this, and I'm not going to say too much, I'm just going to say this. 2021, you will see some new projects. That is all I will say.
We always like a little bit of a tease here, but not to mention we've well, not to mention, but not to forget, we've actually got a really good setup for the real F1 as well. That is looking like it's going to be a cracking season. Can Ferrari bounce back after what a terrible year that they've had? And what of Red Bull, Checo and Max in the same team? Now that will be fireworks as well. And what can, well, the kids on the block in McLaren, I think, is the best way to describe it. What can they do in a Mercedes engine? And obviously, I think can Bottas and Hamilton dominate? Well, can Hamilton dominate the F1 season yet again? But from F1XL, in the year 2020, we say goodbye and hope you have a good New Year's.